Hello and welcome to Smart Money. Well, Investec has become one of the first major banks in South Africa to enter the electricity market. That's after the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, NERSA, granted it a 20-year trading license. Mpho Modise, head of renewable energy trading at Investec, joins us now to talk us through what this all means. Thanks so much, Mpho, for joining us today. So, quite a step. A bank, a traditional financial institution stepping into electricity trading. Break it down for us. And as simplistically as you can, what does this license allow Investec to now do?
Hello, Alicia, and thank you for having me. As Investec, we are very excited about being awarded the energy trading license. And in simple terms, what this means is that Investec will, for the first time, be able to buy multiple sources of renewable energy, be it solar PV, wind, hydro, and be able to resell that renewable energy to a number of businesses and corporates to clients. And when we speak about businesses and corporates, we are not only referring to corporates and businesses that are currently banking with Investec. We are talking about corporates and businesses across South Africa.
Okay, so effectively allowing Investec to participate in the buying and selling of electricity in the country by sourcing its own power from renewable projects and then trade that electricity over Eskom's transmission and distribution networks, right? I've got to ask, what makes Investec as a bank well placed enough to enter energy trading in the first place?
Well, it makes us well placed to enter the energy trading space because we actually started with the renewable energy industry from its beginning. In 2010, when the first government procurement programs were issued, Investec was part of the banks that were actually supporting the industry through senior debt. And as the market developed, we continue to support the industry by offering various products such as on-site renewable energy solutions, solar PV, rooftop solar PV, batteries, inverters. We have always been financing businesses and houses to go renewable with those various solutions. So this is just an additional solution which actually contributes to the full bouquet of renewable energy solutions that we are offering the market.
I hear you, but how much convincing did NERSA need? I mean, what were some of the boxes that needed to be ticked for them in order for you to get this license?
To get a license, the energy trading license application process is actually a very transparent and public process, Alicia. Like anything in this country, it starts with an application form, believe it or not. An application form that consists of various number of sections. The sections actually ask you questions and they ask for supporting documents. And I mean, the information that they're asking for is information that any financier or any regulator will ask for. Information such as your company registration documents, who will be the employees in this company, what does the financial model look like, who is actually going to run the company as directors of the of that company. So it's actually a very public process, and post that review process, you actually go through a public hearing where both yourself as an applicant and NERSA invite the public to come and opine on your application. And the public gets a chance to ask questions about your application, clarify anything if there's anything they are not clear about. And after that process, NERSA actually looks at the full application, whether you have answered South African public's questions satisfactorily, and they adjudicate and they go to their board and actually make a decision.
Okay, so license in hand, how does this help Investec now unlock competitive advantage for its clients?
So, with license in hand, we are able to unlock value not only for the bank clients, we are actually able to unlock value for the bank clients and South Africans at large. And I'll break down the advantage into two pieces. For our client, it actually means they're able to experience saving in their energy costs, which reduces their operating costs and immediately hits their net profit. So that is one of the biggest advantages that they can get. We get to give them a renewable energy certificate, which can help them to prove their sustainability and their carbon neutral position. We give the renewable energy certificate also helps them, if they are actually an export client, to reduce the carbon tax or eliminate it completely if they have a high energy concentration. This actually assist businesses without any capital outlay on their side, which means they get to also improve on their credit rating. There is no capital outlay. They get to sign a power purchase agreement, sit back, experience reduced electricity costs, experience sustainable increase in electricity costs, because we actually agree upfront how much their electricity cost is going to increase by.
Yeah. I had a conversation with the chairman of ESCOM, Teto Nyati, a couple weeks back about, the fact that ESCOM is challenging the awarding of these licenses and, that potentially contradicting the national policy of liberalizing South Africa's energy market and delaying private sector investment. And he said, ESCOM's not against competition, but policy hasn't been fully developed for this evolution that we're seeing. And so we aren't looking at a level playing field because there are different obligations for different players. I mean, do you agree? What's your take on that?
My take on this is that the energy trading industry is at its infancy stage in South Africa, which means we are currently together with ESCOM and municipalities crafting trading rules. I mean, NESA has issued plus minus 15 licenses. Most of the licenses have been issued between last year and this year, which means we had one energy trader with ESCOM in the country for a very, very long time. So now that there is interest into coming into the industry, regulatory processes have been improved to allow the private sector to enter into the industry. We need to create those trading rules. And I mean, we are very grateful that NESA has made this process an open process where all the energy traders, ESCOM, municipalities, all affected stakeholders, and the South African public at large are allowed to come and join and craft these trading rules together. So the trading rules will help all of us to know, to have some form of framework and policy with which we will trade, and we welcome that.
Yeah. I asked the question because, on the one hand, this license enables you to partner with independent power producers to fund, purchase, transport renewable energy across the grid, right? On the other, there's this constraint because there's some level of uncertainty in terms of how these rules are going to play themselves out. So, are there any projects or plans underway, or does this see you tap on the brakes a bit to see what kind of rules and frameworks emerge and the kind of playing field you're going to be competing on?
Look, as a bank, we've always participated in the energy industry, as I've said, since 2010 through the financing of utility scale project, the financing of on-site solutions. I don't think we are going to put any brakes. We are in the middle of trading rules. We are part of the public that is crafting the trading rules together. Fortunately, on our side, renewable energy projects take a long time to build. I mean, your solar PV will take 12 to 18 months. Your wind projects will take 2.5 years. So, and the trading rules themselves are planned to be completed by December this year. Even if they are not, I think we have enough time for us to continue with the construction of projects that are under construction while the trading rules market is developing. So on our side, there are no breaks because we are part of crafting the future. So we see ourselves as being part of facilitating what the future is going to look like. And we are continuing to take risk in terms of construction. So there are a number of projects and a number of IPPs that have knocked on our doors to try and see if we can participate in the full value chain. And we are engaging all of them.
Yeah. So, can you give us any insight on some of the projects or plans underway and in the pipeline?
So one of the projects that we've been speaking about is a project that Investec is a part equity shareholder in, which is coming online next year in April. So that project specifically is going ahead. There are no brakes put on it. We're expecting that project to be ready in Q2 of 2026, and that is going to be our first trade project.
So, Mpho, how does all of this align with Investec's broader sustainability agenda and its overall growth strategy?
Alicia, so the bank has long-term sustainability plans and short-term sustainability plans. One of our short-term sustainability plans is to facilitate the financing of 18 billion pounds into the South African and the UK market. So having been awarded the energy trading license in 2025 fits squarely with that, because that sustainability plan starts in 2026 and ends in 2030. So our first plant is going to be available in 2026, which aligns with that sustainability plan. We will be able to participate in the full value chain, where we can go with a project from funding, offtake, and wheeling of that project, while we still continue with our other products, which are providing financing for on-site solutions. So this fits squarely into our sustainability plan and our growth plans into the renewable energy industry.
Yeah. Okay, so we're effectively now starting to see, the theory behind the liberalization of South Africa's energy market start to play itself out practically as all of these regulatory changes take effect. What are some of the hurdles and, Mpho, that's whether it's regulatory, financial or infrastructural that still need to be cleared in South Africa for renewable energy trading to reach its full potential?
Thanks for that, Alicia. So I think you've identified exactly where the challenges are in those three buckets that you've mentioned. The first one being regulatory. As I've mentioned, we are currently in the middle of discussing and crafting trading rules, which are going to build a framework for trading across the country. Secondly, we have municipalities that are not in good standing with Eskom, which means they are not eligible to participate in the energy trading market. Thirdly, we actually have municipalities that have not created a wheeling framework within their jurisdiction, which means clients that are specifically in those municipalities, whether they are either not eligible or they haven't created wheeling frameworks, we are going to have challenges. So that's the challenges on the regulatory side of things. On the financial side of things, I think South Africa over time, since 2010, has actually built a robust renewable energy industry which the international market has actually become comfortable to finance. I mean, we've seen a lot of international IPPs that have come into the country looking to sponsor and build projects. We have had the South African commercial bank industry coming up the curve in terms of what they can finance and what they cannot. I mean, some of the things that they would not do in 2010, such as providing BEE equity funding, were seen as high risk types of financial instruments. But today we are seeing commercial banks that have come up to the curve and say, we are actually ready to finance this. So on the financing of the project itself, we don't have a lot of challenges. But of course, there's always challenges somewhere. We still have lack of participation of women, financing of women into this industry, people with disabilities, previously disadvantaged groups of peoples still have challenges when they are looking for financing to enter this industry. And if we look at the um, infrastructure challenges themselves, we still have grid capacity issues in all the Cape regions. And as South Africans are very innovative, they've then found solutions by moving projects inland. Is that a bad problem to have? I don't think so. We have had renewable energy being focused specifically in the Cape region, which means the skills and employment into those projects were focused on those provinces because they had good resource. But now we are seeing projects moving inland. We are seeing participation of Limpopo, Free State, Northwest. We've got a wind project that is coming up in Mpumalanga, which no one could have ever thought could happen. We have projects that are going into KZN, areas where the country initially and financiers initially thought, you know what, we are not going to go into these provinces because the Cape are the high resource provinces. So we are now seeing power being distributed across the country, jobs being distributed across the country, and the development of skills being distributed across the country. Of course, Eskom has a plan to build transmission across the country and actually unlock grid. But I think at the moment it's sort of a good problem to have these skills being distributed across the country.
Mpho, and that's a clear illustration of where opportunity lies, where there are problems needing to be solved. Let's leave it there for today. Thanks so much for having joined us on Smart Money today. Mpho Modise is Head of Renewable Energy Trading at Investec.